Hi, my name is Beyhan, and in this video I will show you how to connect to PostgreSQL server with .NET Entity Framework in a C# application. We will see how to connect PostgreSQL from pgAdmin Windows application, how to set up Entity Framework to connect PostgreSQL server on Ubuntu virtual machine, how to use PostgreSQL database context in a C# console application, how to make CRUD operations on PostgreSQL database with Entity Framework database context, and how to create a web API for CRUD operations. PostgreSQL is running on Ubuntu virtual machine, therefore I need to do port forwarding on VirtualBox. First I go to VirtualBox, I go to settings of my virtual machine, I go to network, I click advanced port forwarding. Now I have the rule here to forward my local IP address 5432 port to Ubuntu 10.02.15 5432 port. If you want to see Ubuntu IP address, you can open a terminal window and you can run ifconfig. As you can see, Ubuntu IP address is 10.02.15. And make sure you have allowed 5432 port on firewall. Password is Ubuntu, and as you can see 5432 TCP port is allowed to connect from anywhere. If you don't know how to install PostgreSQL or if you don't know how to install Ubuntu on VirtualBox, please check my YouTube channel. You can see in previous videos how to install Ubuntu on VirtualBox and the configuration for SFTP and SSH, and you will see how to configure port forwarding as well. And in the second video I tell about how to install PostgreSQL server on Ubuntu VirtualBox and configuration for connections from pgAdmin. And finally, we need to check if PostgreSQL service is running. And service is ready to be connected. To check connection, we will be using pgAdmin tool. If pgAdmin can connect from Windows to PostgreSQL on Ubuntu virtual machine, that means Entity Framework should be able to connect it too. If you have seen the previous video, we set password Ubuntu for pgAdmin client on Windows, and servers are ready, and we are connected to Ubuntu on VirtualBox. In previous video, I have created testdb with admin role, and we have created admin role to connect with password. So let's check if we have tables. Because in this video I will show you DB first approach. In DB first approach, first you prepare your database and tables, and by using this database, dbcontext is created with a simple .NET-EntityFramework command. I have a log table here. It is quite simple table. It has an auto-incremental ID column and varchar log column. To check if we have any data, I will use query tool. And we have a record. Let's add another one. And second record is added. If you check it again, now we have two records here. Now we are ready to connect from Entity Framework. First we need to go to Visual Studio in order to create a sample application. I have installed Visual Studio Community Edition. You can download it from Microsoft page and you can install it as well. Create a new project. I will show you a simple console application. I choose console app. I will give the name console Ubuntu. I have only one option, so I would say create. Our solution is ready and we need to add 3 packages to our solution by using NuGet. So I copy the first package name. I go to solution, right click, manage NuGet packets for solution. I go to browse tab. I paste the package name here. we found our package and I click project. I will install it for console application. I will say install. I say accept. And package is installed. As you can see, there is a green check here. I will continue with the second package. Install. Accept. Okay. Now I will continue with the third one. I click install. Accept. Okay, 3 packages are installed. So you can see here on dependencies package, 3 of them are here. Now I will close NuGet window and I will go to view, terminal, and it is here. I will choose developer PowerShell. It is getting ready now. And now I will check if we have .NET ready. If you have installed Visual Studio, it will install Software Development Kit SDK and it will install this .NET tool as well. So we have it here. And next we will be preparing .NET Entity Framework. Now dotnet-ef is installed. We will continue with preparation of our connection string. I have my PostgreSQL server installed on Ubuntu on a VirtualBox, but I have done port forwarding so I can reach Ubuntu via my own host IP address and port. As you can see here on VirtualBox settings, I will show it to you again. If you go to Network tab, Advanced and Port Forwarding, you will see here my own IP address and port 5432 is forwarded to Ubuntu IP address and port. And with this setting, I can actually connect with my own local IP address. If you have installed your PostgreSQL server to a different machine, and if you can reach it from network, you should be entering its IP address here. And if you have changed the port number, you should set the new port number here. Remember, in pgAdmin, we have checked the testdb database and we have been using admin user, and admin user password was admin. So if I go to here, you can see user's role admin and the password is admin, and I will be using the same thing here. So this is my connection string, IP address, port, database name, username, and that's it. And this all attribute with models means that all the Entity Framework scaffolding classes will be placed under models folder. I will copy the line. I will go to developer PowerShell. Remember, if you don't have it, you can open it from here, terminal. Right click, it will paste. And it warned me I should be using the project folder. Since we are on solution folder, you cannot ls command. You will see console up Ubuntu project folder. I write cd space console. And if I paste it here again, now it is connecting to Ubuntu server with port forwarding, and it will be retrieving testdb and its tables. And for each table, it will be creating a class. By using these classes, we will be able to manipulate the data on database. We will be able to do CRUD operations. Okay, now we got another error. We need to install this package as well. So I select this and right click it. It copies by right clicking. I go to manage NuGet packets. I go here, manage NuGet packets for solution. I paste it here. I select project, but it is installed as you can see. So I don't know why we got this error. In this case, we go to build solution, build is started. We will check the output here. Now it's building the project and it will check dependencies and everything. that has been done. Now we will go, I will press up key, or you can paste the command again. Okay, we don't have the command. And yeah, I pressed enter and I press up key. Now we have the command, or otherwise you can copy it and paste it again. So I press enter again. Okay, Entity Framework created a new folder here, models, and under models it has created a dbcontext and a new class for my table. Remember, if we go to pgAdmin and if you open the table with columns, we had ID and logs, and it is now we have log class and we have two properties here. One of them is ID, which is long. Remember, we have chosen big serial for that, and other one is string, and it was nullable, so it put this nullable string attribute here. And here there's dbcontext, and with this dbcontext now we can do our CRUD operations. And now we go to our program class and we will be writing a static method to be able to do CRUD operations, or we can say read logs. And we will be retrieving list of logs from table. And if we go to log class, we will be the same properties that we see on the program here as attribute to object. That's it. Now we will be calling read logs. And I run our console application. Now it's connecting to our database at the background. See, we got test and Behan. If we check our pgAdmin, we have test and Behan both. Now we will create another method to create a new record in dbcontext. Now I will add a new method to create a new log. I will copy the previous method to use as a template. And finally we will save the changes. And this is our create method. Now first I will read the logs. I will place an empty line. I will create new record. And I will be reading them again. If I run the console application, as you can see, first we got 2 records, then we have added our 3rd record. So that's a very basic example how you can make CRUD applications on PostgreSQL by using Entity Framework. Now next we will see how to create a web API to create a new record on PostgreSQL. So far we have seen how to create a console application to consume PostgreSQL database with Entity Framework, and we have done very basic database operations such as creating a new entry and reading all entries. Now we will see how to create a very basic web API, so we can use this web API URL in our IoT projects in our local network. It is very basic, it doesn't have any authentication, it is not secure, but still it can work for local applications. So to create a web API, first we need to add a new project, and we go to web API, and we will choose ASP.NET Core Web API, click next. It will be IoT, click next. I don't need HTTPS, and it is on this one available here, and I will click create. And I will set web application IoT project as startup project. So when I click start, it will create web application IoT, and it created a dummy weather forecast controller for us. It has a root called controller. Controller means if you write to URL weather forecast, it will be getting to first get method, default get method. If you run our web application, we will try this get method on browser. By default, Swagger is coming, I will just change it here, weather forecast. Actually it called get method by default, so I will be adding a new method here, but first I will stop it. I will say I will create dependencies between projects, so I will use console application as library, and I will be renaming this class. I will say logs controller. Yes. Now the class name is also changed and I don't need these methods anymore. That's fine. And here I will change this method name and signature too. So it will return string and we will call it add. So what I have done is I added a new attribute here, http get. It will accept a parameter and the root will be controller name /add and then the string parameter we will be accepting. Here we had a sample code to add a new entry on the database. I will copy this static method. I will paste it here as a private method and it won't be static anymore. It will be dynamic. Now we need to fix the namespaces and the packets. We will add reference to console up. So it has been added here. And here we will be just calling this new create log method with parameter. And we will return OK by default. Very simple API example. Obviously you won't be writing all this database logic in controller. I'm doing that just to show you how you can simply retrieve data from query string URL and put it on the database by using EntityFramework. So our final controller will be looking like that. It will be default root controller, so we will be localhost port /logs/add. We will be passing this log text parameter and it will be processed in the create log. I will place another debug point here. So I remove the variable type here and I click run. I will be changing URL here. It will be logs add and test string. So we got our first debug point here, and if I continue line by line, and now that's it. Our last line, the database is updated and we got an OK here. If I go to pgAdmin, if I run this query again, I will see the fourth line, test string, and I can see the same output if I change my startup project on Visual Studio as well. So if I stop our application, web application, if I select console project as startup project, and if I run it again, I will see the same output. Hello world, and now we will see our 4 records from database. This was our last line from web service, but in our code obviously we have this insert command, so it added the 5th line. In this video we have seen how we can connect the PostgreSQL server by using EntityFramework, and we have seen how we can do basic CRUD operation on console application, and finally we have seen how we can create a web API and how we can store data that we have received from web API to database. And in the next video I am planning to show how actually we can store our sensors data that we have retrieved by using Arduino or with Wemos D1 Mini and ESP8266 on PostgreSQL. And I will be publishing our web application on Linux Ubuntu. So what we will be doing, actually we will be calling with a HTTP client to connect to the Ubuntu server web application, and web application will be saving data to PostgreSQL as we have seen in this video. If you like this video, don't forget to click like. Thanks for watching.